Shadowland. They've got fire, they've got style, they make chaos look worthwhile. Partners in crime, heartbeats aligned, together they're one of a kind. They're the couple that slays together, storming the world, it's now or never. Back to back, through thick and thin, in the game of life they always win. Blazing trails, leaving legends behind. Love so fierce, it's one of a kind. We're the couple that slays together. Oh.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Couple That Slays Together. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Katie. And let me tell you, we've had one doozy of a week.
Have we?
Have we?
Yeah.
We definitely have.
Yes.
Usually we ask each other how our day, week is going, but I think we both can agree. It's been a doozy of a week.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long one. We've it's been I don't know, really busy, and I feel like I've been swamped with projects. Traveling. Yep. I went to Chicago last night. We're recording this on May 3rd. Went up to Nightmare Weekend Chicago, and
We had my uncle's funeral on Thursday,
yep.
the day before, and that was kind of more in the southwest part of Indiana.
Yep, about an hour and 15-minute drive one way. And then, my job, my day job, I've had to drive in twice this week, which is an hour and 20 minutes one way. A lot of driving.
A lot of driving.
A lot of time in the car.
A lot of Midwest driving.
Yep.
I don't think that, I am a TikToker, and I love these two guys, that Josh and Jace from the UK, and they come over and visit the UK and everything. And they were explaining that, like, from their house, if they drove 45 minutes, they'd be in a different country.
No.
And for us, I'm like, that's just going to downtown Indy.
Yeah, I feel like it's longer to get down there.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being that close to, like, another country's border, like, that easily.
Yep.
But
Kind of neat.
We've done a lot of traveling, a lot of family stuff, a lot of work responsibilities, but we still love doing this show, and we want to make this a priority.
Yep.
And we've got a lot of things recorded and going to be rolling out here soon.
Yeah, so if you're watching this live this week, we're actually putting out, now again, we're putting this out first week of May, technically second, I guess, just because May 1st fell on a Thursday, but we're going to be coming at you with 3 episodes this week. So we've got our review of Tucker and Dale versus Evil today. We had our mini-sode out that was out this past Monday. It's our first one, talking about March 2025 conventions. And we're really excited to announce that we're going to be interviewing Eli and Sasha Craig, who Eli wrote and directed this film. He wrote and directed a film called Little Evil, and he wrote and directed he wrote the screenplay and directed the brand new film, which we have already seen, Clown in a Cornfield. We are going to be talking to him about that. Everything's going to be chock full of spoilers, just because we want to be able to have a full conversation. So super exciting.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Tucker and Dale has been one of my favorite, not just horror movies, but movies of all time. Watched it, loved it before we even met, and, we have our mutual love of horror.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to meet the person that created and wrote.
Yeah. Well, and I know you've talked to him kind of on the phone a couple times, and I've met him in person once, and just a real sweet, nice guy.
I've met Sasha, I think, at least once, if not a couple of times, and she's amazing.
Yep. Sasha, his wife, is a good friend of mine. We've been friends for quite a few years now. She played the yellow Lightspeed Power Ranger in the 8th season of the series, Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. I'm going to be honest with you. As an adult, I love Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue now. But as a kid, and again, not trying to diss on anybody who worked on the show, I still liked it. But Lightspeed was when the magic disappeared. Power Rangers in the first 7 seasons, they teleported, they did all these things, and they went into space the 2 seasons prior to it. And then with Lightspeed, it's like it wasn't connected at the beginning. It wasn't connected to anything else. It was a brand new cast all on its own. They didn't teleport. They drove everywhere. Everybody knew who they were. So it was like, and it was in that era where,
more realistic than
yeah, yeah, and they honestly did things that like essential workers did, like firefighters and ambulance drivers and plane.
which are the real heroes.
Yes, they are, and that's not a complaint. But when you're watching a show chock full of fantasy, it's like, where'd the fantasy go? But again, I rewatched it again as an adult, and I have a fond appreciation for it now, and really enjoyed it. So, you know what else is insane is there's been some crazy horror news coming out this week.
Yeah.
Let me roll that back. Not as crazy as what we've announced in the recent past, but there's been some things to come out. Did you get a chance to watch the trailer for Together?
No.
So Together is, as you all know out there, or maybe you don't, but Dave Franco and Allison Brie, married couple.
I saw a poster or something for it, but I hadn't actually seen the trailer.
The teaser trailer makes it look a little artsy-fartsy, elevated horror-ish, but,
Well, it's a body horror, right?
believe so, yeah.
But I saw described it as a body horror.
Yeah. Not really much dialogue, all other than, I love you too. And but it looks, I'm intrigued. I mean, I'll be more intrigued. It's one of those things where I can't bitch too much because Drop. We saw Drop, and
I loved it.
I love Drop too, but the problem I had with Drop is they showed way too much in the trailer. The only thing they didn't show you was who did it. So I mean, I feel like we saw every scene.
Pretty much, you definitely saw the climax with the window falling and everything in the trailer, which the entire time I was like, hey, when is this going to happen?
Yeah. And as much as we enjoyed it, it didn't survive long in theater. It's already out on digital, so it was only a 2-week turnaround. So
I think it's one of those ones where I may give it a lower grade, but I will watch it repeatedly.
Yep.
Like it's a good entertaining movie.
Yeah, it's one you can put on to, take a nap to or clean the house too.
Yeah.
Let's see. I had a couple other things in horror news. Now, again, that Together trailer might have been underwhelming, but huge, massive thing happened with the trailer. The trailer for Weapons dropped. The one with the kids in the classroom.
You're more excited than I am for that one.
I don't know. It's the hype. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of giving into the hype, but here's the story that was told to me. Apparently there was such a massive bidding war for this movie that it got up to $35 million, which is unheard of. And Jordan Peele wanted to be the producer, director, whatever on this film so bad that he sent his management team to bid for this film, and they either didn't go or they went and didn't win. And so either way, whatever the story is on that, he fired his entire management team over it. Allegedly. That's what I've been told.
We don't know for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, to lose out on but it sounds like that one, between that, Sinners, and Clown on a Cornfield, which we'll talk about here, it seems like they're the big anticipated horror films for the year.
Did you hear about the pushback for him?
No.
Yeah. So I don't know how big of a flack it's getting, but I saw several things where at the end of the trailer for him, you have the football person raising his arms out, and I think he's bloody, and he's the eye in him, but it's very like Jesus on a cross.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of flack that it's supposedly going to be anti-Christian, anti-religion, yada yada. And I'm going from that.
Yeah.
Like he's making the eye in him. I think it's a little far-fetched. The only people that have seen it are the people that have worked on it, right? So you really can't have a full opinion until you see it.
I really think they're going to get overshadowed by Ice Nine Kills' film Slashing of the Christ.
Well, that may cause an uproar.
Yeah, I think him's going to be like, thank God that came out this year, because I don't know. A couple other things in horror news, just a little tidbits here. Mammoth WVH. Now, I've played you a little bit of Mammoth. You like them.
He's the son of somebody.
Eddie Van Halen, yes. Wolf is kind of like your one-stop shop for music, meaning in his band, Mammoth, when it's recorded, it's all him. He's doing bass, drums, guitars, lead guitar and rhythm, and he's the vocalist.
I am always just amazed by musicians in general. Artists in general, art-wise, I can't draw a straight line with a ruler, is what I like to say. But musicians, I I love music. I feel music deeply, but I can't I can't play any of the instruments. I remember in high school, I had a friend that was very musical, and she was trying to get me into like the xylophone, 'cause it's supposedly like the easiest like way to get into an instrument. Still can't do it.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine not only working on an album like that, but then playing every single instrument and every single vocal. That's a lot.
Yeah. I'm the type of guy that knows how to do it. I just suck at it. So like, I don't know, like I'm an all right singer. I'm an all right guitar player. You know, I'm an all right video editor. I'm not great at anything.
Yeah.
The only thing I feel like I've ever been great at is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I will kick all of your guys' asses. You have no chance against me whatsoever. I know I haven't played the game in 25 years, but I'm pretty sure I could pick up a controller and still whoop everybody.
You're good at Mario. I enjoy playing Mario, but I get frustrated with it.
Yep.
So like I'm not good at the jumping games.
Yeah.
Where you gotta like not, or you gotta land on the platform, not fall off. That's when I just hand it to Brandon. I'm like, beat this level for me. I can't do it.
Well, let's go back to Wolf for a second. So here, this is a good episode to talk about this on because, you know, nepotism. How do you feel about nepotism, especially?
Nepo babies.
How do you feel about nepotism, especially in, you know, the world of entertainment?
Entertainment. I can't give my opinion because I'm not in it. I'm not working with these people. You only can go off of conjecture and what you may hear through a grapevine of this person's horrible to work with, this person was great to work with. I think that there is a lot of talent out there that happen to have famous parents. Did that give them a leg up? Absolutely. Just like any career field, that child has kind of an open door. Do they have to go through it? No, they could have chosen something else. But I don't know. Whenever I think of Nepo babies, the one that comes to my mind is Billie Lourd, which is Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Yep.
And Debbie Reynolds' granddaughter. Obviously, she's legendary actresses that she comes from.
That's two generations of Nepo babies.
Right. But she is amazing in everything I've seen her in.
Right.
She is a chameleon, in my opinion. She's been in all these different American Horror Stories, playing different characters, and you totally believe that she is that. She's not Billie Lourd playing that character like we see from a lot of actors.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You watch a Matthew McConaughey, you're getting Matthew McConaughey. You're not getting a different person. She can play any person.
Yep.
So anyway, I think that there's probably, like all careers, there's probably a few duds out there that only got the position because of their parents.
Yeah.
But there's also really good ones.
Yep.
What is your thoughts on it?
I fully support it if the work is being put in. So
Exactly.
you know, the reason why I brought this up, well, here, I'll talk about that in a second. So, I mean, you know, I had the pleasure of talking to Jack Quaid about this when I was working with him at con. You know, he's the one that brought it up on social
Another
media.
amazing, talented individual.
Son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan. Okay. I had the pleasure of talking to him about it. Like, you know, I just want to say, you know, because he came out and said something, I'm very much paraphrasing, but he came out and said, you know, yeah, I'm an Nepo baby. I mean, and nothing has been handed to me, but my parents are famous, and that's that. And, you know, I look at that as like, you know, well, I say stand on your credit because, you know, I think of it as like a car mechanic, right? And, you know, we are constantly, you know, we take our car in and it's like, all right, does this guy really know anything or not? I would almost rather get my car worked on by a kid who grew up in a garage with his dad, learning different ways of the trade and then going to school just to get the paperwork, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, he's going to go in there with already all this advanced knowledge. Like, we give credit to so many kids who are, they're taking college classes, their freshman year of high school, and they're going to have an associate's degree by the time they graduate high school. But we don't give any credit to entertainers that are doing these things. And, you know, like you look at somebody like Wolf Van Halen, who, you know, I don't have enough time in the day to learn one instrument, let alone all of them.
Right.
But this kid has grown up with Eddie fucking Van Halen.
Yeah.
And he's learning all this shit from probably the band. He's probably learning each instrument from the band members, if not Eddie himself. And this dude can he can just fuck around in his studio and play whatever the hell he wants and make music that's amazing.
Well, and it also kind of brings rise to the question of nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
I mean, genetically what's the word? Genetically disposition
Yeah.
for you to be more creative.
Yeah.
And how that creative outlet comes about. I mean, there's a lot, I think, in the entertainment, which is a very broad brush.
Yeah.
Film, radio, TV, authors, any of that their children are also doing something creative, but maybe not exactly in that field.
Right. Well, and the reason why I kind of wanted to bring it up this episode is because technically Eli Craig, who wrote and directed Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, he's a nepo baby. He's Sally Field's son.
Mm-hmm.
He has a wife who is a Power Ranger. She was an actress before they met, I believe. We'll find that out in the interview, I believe. But
Yeah.
Pretty sure they weren't together when she got in the business. I could be wrong. And then their son Noah, who is in their new film Clown in the Cornfield, great actor in that film, and now he's got an agent and doing a bunch of work. Sasha's been telling me about it. It's so great.
He had great timing in that movie.
He did. He was almost the comic relief part of it.
Yeah.
I
think another facet to it is if you're open to learning and developing on your own.
Yeah.
I think to use Billie Lourd, she's an actress just like her mother and grandmother, but if you look at the roles that they do, very different.
Yep.
It's stretching a different kind of muscle.
Yep.
I mean, some of the nepo babies are very similar.
Yep.
But I also like Jack Quaid. His parents, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but they're not much of like the horror slasher field, and he has done how many different things under the horror umbrella so well.
Yep. And I even saw a comment on Instagram that was like, because they put out a trailer. There was a trailer for Neighborhood Watch with Jack Quaid and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's another amazing actor. But somebody commented, I was like, damn, man, because he's already got like 3 movies out for this year. And somebody was like, damn, man, Jack Quaid woke up this year and chose employment. Like, I thought that was a really funny comment.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring up Wolf Van Halen, bringing it back to news, is Mammoth put out a music video this week called The End. And it was co-directed by Robert Rodriguez, who co-directed films he co-directed From Dusk Till Dawn with Quentin Tarantino. And he also directed, I believe he directed Machete, the film series. And then it was also co-directed by Greg Nicotero, who was the special effects makeup artist on Walking Dead and so many other things. And then it was co-written by Robert Rodriguez and Wolf. They wrote the screenplay for the video. But it has Danny Trejo in it. He's like the bar bouncer, like the whatever. It has Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge and Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Contributors. He's a solo artist as well. And then it also has Slash in it. So they must have done that when they were all on tour together. So really fun video. It's a little bit of an homage to they pay homage to Michael Jackson's Thriller video. They kind of intro similar to it, and then they also have an outro similar to it. So it's a really fun video. Again, the song's called The End. If you like their music or if you like rock, I wholeheartedly recommend it. Our last bit of horror news isn't really much like as far as news, but more of a recommendation. Katie and I have recently started watching the series Pit, or The Pit on Max. Just want to recommend that to horror fans because it has a slew of horror actors in it. It's got I should have looked up names, but it's got Fiona Dourif, who is Brad Dourif, who voiced Chucky, has his daughter in it. Again, more nepotism, but again,
Brad's going to be in a future episode. We're not quite there yet.
Yeah, episode 14. I looked and saw he might be in more, but but it's got Jalen, what's his name from Thanksgiving. We've seen little bits of there's been other people who've guest starred on there. People come in
from Terrifier.
Yep. Which one?
The one that Terrifier 2.
Yep. Jonah Davis. He's actually in like 10 episodes. He plays one of the EMTs. He's the guy that gets his head bashed in.
He plays a security guard.
Yes. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, he plays a security guard. And then there was one more that I was like, hey. Oh, Margaret Moreau, who is in Firestarter Rekindled, but she also plays Connie Moreau. Funny enough, her last name is the same. She plays Connie Moreau in the Mighty Ducks films. So Connie and Guy.
Yeah.
But
It is I think it's Showtime.
it's Max.
Max.
Yep.
It's Max. So, it is kind of like a spin-off of ER, but not unofficially. Um,
Yeah.
Brandon kind of knows some more of the behind the scenes on that, but, um, I will say this, it is, very realistic.
Yeah.
Y you know, I don't think it falls under horror. It's more of a dramedy
Yeah.
or dramedy. It's more of a drama.
Well, there is some things in there, like little bits that make you laugh.
Yeah, there is. One of my favorite characters, is definitely she's on the spectrum.
Yep.
But it follows, medical students, in the ER at, Pittsburgh
Yep.
Hospital, and, kind of the everyday life that creeps in on a job that you're supposed to be able to separate.
Yep.
But it's really cool to see the different cases and things, and each episode is an hour of their work shift.
Yeah. So it's literally it's the same day. It's going hour by hour. So
Like 24 did.
it's crazy because like for a couple reasons. For me, now first of all, just to let you were half right. It's not a spinoff of ER. It was supposed to be a reboot of ER. Where they could never come to terms with the negotiations, and they went ahead and made it anyway. And so I think NBC or whoever had ER, the rights to ER, they were trying to sue the pit, and I think there might still be a lawsuit going on for that. I'd have to look it up, but I'm not sure. But I remember that was a big thing. But I remember it was neat. Fiona had just gotten the call when she was here in Indy for Days of the Dead. She had gotten the call when she was here that she got the role.
Well, and again, kind of tying that back to being a Nepo baby.
Yep.
I mean, she's an amazing actress in her own right.
Yep.
And she auditioned and she fought for that part like any other
Right.
actress in the field would do. And, you were saying that her dad was so excited for her and everything, like any dad would be. I mean,
Yeah. For those who don't know, if you don't watch the Chucky series, in The Curse of Chucky, Brad's daughter in real life is introduced as Nika. It's almost like a soft reboot, but it's still in the same universe. The seed of Chucky wasn't great, so I think they kind of wanted to start a little fresh, but keeping it with the same timeline and universe, so it wasn't a hard reboot like the 2019 film was with Mark Hamill as the voice. But this film has Fiona Dorff. She's kind of the center character.
honestly, my favorite in the Chucky.
Mine as well. Between that and the second one, and Bride. It's hard to say because Bride was in the first 5 horror movies I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So
Bride is kind of a close second to me.
yeah,
It's very much more dark comedy in my opinion.
Yep.
And campier.
Yep.
But I love the character of Nika and the idea she's confined to a wheelchair.
Yep.
But living for the first time on her own, and there's, an old Victorian house, and that's my favorite.
yeah. And I don't want to sound like a sick fuck, but I think if someone
You preface it like that?
I have
Or going to.
I have to because I think the ultimate revenge for me against someone, if they were to like say murder you, or like they murdered my family or my children, like if I had children, we don't have children, but like if they did, like I don't think I'm like, what would be like the ultimate revenge? And again, this sounds horrible. I'm not like a sick person thinking about this, but I would be like, well, probably cutting off their arms and legs because then they could never walk or pick anything up. Like that just seems like that to me seems like the worst thing you could do to somebody or have done. And that happens to her in the Chucky series. And I'm like, it's really a bummer because Nika is this really sweet character, and she doesn't get the treatment that every other final girl gets. She survives all these, but it's a rough road for Nika. So, but going back to the nepotism thing, she had to audition even for Curse of Chucky. They did not hand her that role simply because she was Brad's daughter. I don't even think that they had considered the fact that it was her daughter, and she just plays a really good. I mean, because she does kind of go a little crazy based on what happens to her, and does a great job.
Yeah. And I wanted to say this too when we were talking about the nepotism stuff. I think that and I'm not naming names, I don't know anything. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus in any way, shape, or form. But I think if anyone showed up, Nepo baby or not, and they were not professional, they caused issues, they didn't work on their talent and their skills, that they wouldn't live long in the business. whoever their parents were. Um, so yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, if we're going the other way, the one girl who is on SNL, I can't remember her name, the short hair girl that plays music sometimes.
She's very flat comedy.
Yeah, and she was one of Lauren's assistant's daughters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that felt like it was handed, because I mean,
Yeah.
with everybody that tries out for the show, I feel like she just isn't great. And
She does get a lot of laughs. I feel like the live, you can hear the audience laughing live. And she did do a update.
yeah, she's done a couple.
She's done a couple of the skits inside of update that were pretty funny.
The characters where it's the two, like the couple that you wouldn't likely see together with Marcelo, what's his name? Hernandez.
Yeah.
So funny. They make me laugh.
I miss the Leslie Jones era of that skit though. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we love to do, just kind of getting to the next segment, is we like to read from a horror would you rather book.
So we have this book called Would You Rather, like she said. It's by Sophia Rivers. If you haven't seen the show before, what we do is we flip through this book really quick and try to just find a Would You Rather horror edition thing. And the only reason why we wouldn't read it is because we had before. So I'm going to go first. Just flip, flip, flip. Would you rather know that plants feel pain as you eat them alive, or have to butcher all your own meat and eat every part of the animal yourself?
Easy. The vegetables.
Yeah.
That I have a hard time. I think you may know this, but you could ask my family, my parents. For the longest time, if I even saw, like, I love chicken and turkey. I'm not much of a red meat eater, but if I saw like a chicken leg and I saw like the bone, that's it. I'm done. I'm not eating no more. I can't do it.
Yep.
So, what about you?
I'm the same way. You know, it's funny. I can handle a hair in my food, like within reason. Like if it's a little tiny one, like and eat. Again, I feel like I'm painting myself to be a horrible person in this episode, but then,
Especially if you know it's like my hair.
right. But even if I get accidents happen. However, if I'm eating a piece of fish or chicken and I feel a little piece of bone in my mouth, that's it. I'm done. I can't do it.
I can't. I've worked in a lot of food service throughout high school, college, and even after college. And I remember sitting down with a cookbook with a student at the school that I worked at. And the first thing that we flipped open to try to get a new recipe for her was like this like breaded fish on a plate, but it was like up in the air with like mouth open. And I'm going, how do you eat it? How do you eat it? It still has a face.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
I'm like you. I can't eat crayfish because of the face, and they have a weird taste to them.
Now there is a local enough, I guess, to central Indiana called Yats, and it's Creole food.
Yeah,
love it. They have a crawfish etouffee. Love it, but the crawfish look like little shrimps.
Yeah,
you don't have to shell.
Yep,
all that fun stuff. All right, so this is my turn. So I'm just gonna flip, and again, I'll read whatever I look at unless we've done it before. So, would you rather make a horror podcast with your spouse, or just kidding?
Or what?
I don't know. I couldn't think of another one. Oh, anyway, would you rather? After every shower, you find cryptic messages appear on your bathroom's fogged mirror, even though you live alone, or find pictures of yourself on your phone of you sleeping, even though you live alone.
I guess the pictures of I guess either way, someone's invading my house. So I'm going to go with simply the mirror, because if they're able to grab my phone and take pictures of me, then they can look at other stuff like email, whatever. Like if I've got,
you're really painting yourself to be a horror.
Well, no, I'm just saying like if I've got
stuff on my phone.
Well, it's like if they can look at my passwords and like everything else, they can get my Gmail, my bank account. So I'd rather just the fog mirror window or whatever. Yeah.
I have a similar but different thought. Mine is also the mirror, but my thought is if you're asleep, you're unconscious and you don't know that they're there and you don't know what they're doing. But if you're like in the shower, you're awake. So if they're writing a cryptic message, maybe you'd see them and do something versus being unconscious.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Put it in the comments. Which one would you rather be?
Yeah.
Or do or experience?
Yeah.
All right. Today we are going to be reviewing Tucker and Dale versus Evil from 2010. One of my all-time favorite movies.
Yes. We won't bury the lead like we did with The Howling. We didn't really like that one. We love this one, so we're just kind of probably gush over this a lot, but we'll give it a solid discussion. So,
can you guess what my grades are gonna be?
Yeah. Our horror subgenre for this one, we decided that it is a comedy, it is a teen film, it is a slasher films of sorts. Simply because it is the kids kind of are killing themselves. But it's still in slasher-like ways.
If they're slashing themselves, it's still a slasher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This film is written by Eli Craig and Morgan Jurgensen and directed by our somewhat friend now, Eli Craig.
He'll be a friend after tomorrow.
Yeah, of course. All right, so this film stars Tyler Labine as Dale, Alan Tudyk as Tucker. Before we move on, just a little fun fact. Tyler Labine and the stoner from Freddy vs. Jason are brothers. I just had to throw that out there.
Frat brothers.
Yeah. Alan, I already said Alan. Okay. Katrina Bowden as Allison, who's also in American Reunion, a couple other things. Let's see. Jesse Moss as Chad. Brandon J. McLaren as Jason. Fun fact, another Power Ranger. Red SPD Ranger, season 13. Christy Lang as Naomi. Chellen Simmons as Chloe. Travis Nelson as Chuck. Alex Arsenault as Todd. Adam Bouchesney as Mitch. Joseph Allen Sutherland as Mike. Philip Granger as the sheriff, and Eli's wife, Sasha Craig, as the reporter. And as she has said about herself, the hot young reporter in the end. That's what she said, refers to herself as. So our little mini plot summary, affable hillbillies Tucker and Dale are on vacation at their dilapidated mountain cabin when they are mistaken for murderers by a group of preppy college students. In our opening scene, we see like a found footage type of tease. Nice. Eli's kind of putting himself in the beginning cameo rather than like a Hitchcock, usually you'll see Hitchcock or R.L. Stine or somebody in the end of something. Basically, we open with Eli and Sasha, married couple, opening in like a found footage style scene showing a news reporter and a cameraman, which is the two of them, exploring a murder scene in the woods. They are attacked off camera, setting up an eerie tone and teasing the audience with a traditional horror vibe. We next see a group of stereotypical college students who are Chad, Allison, Naomi, Jason, Chloe, Chuck, Todd, and Mitch. How they all fit in that van, I have no idea. They're heading into West Virginia backwoods for a camping trip. They make a stop at a gas station where they encounter Tucker and Dale, two well-meaning but socially awkward hillbillies. Now they see each other on the road first. You kind of see Tucker and Dale. They're very hillbillyish looking. It's kind of that stereotypical setup of a slasher movie. I would compare those scenes to like say Friday the 13th, 2009. Like I said, they kind of pass them and they're just kind of looking awkward at them. But we soon see that the script is going to be a little flipped. They stop at the gas station. Dale awkwardly tries to talk to Allison, but he's very nervous. His demeanor and large scythe make him come off as threatening.
Yeah, I love this scene. It's very funny. I put down on my notes, I think this is a classic. How you view yourself versus how others view you. Like, why did he pick up the scythe?
Right.
If he's already nervous and awkward, but he's not adding very. It's not ill-intended,
right?
But he's not helping himself by picking up this huge scythe.
Yeah. Well, and the other way I look at it too is it's like, how often do we go out to like Meijer or Walmart and we just look like shit? We have showered, and then hell, I'm wearing sweatpants right now. I haven't done my hair. I mean, we're at home, we're comfortable, and I feel like those two guys.
Y'all are lucky I put on a bra.
Right. But those two guys, they're best buds, and they're just
Yeah.
going up to their vacation home, and it's not like they need to wear a tux or take a
Yeah.
shower,
And in one of the next scenes when they get to the cabin, they even say that this is listed as a fixer-upper. So obviously they know they're going to a cabin that they're going to be working on.
Yep.
So they're not going to be like in their best.
Right. When the students see them in the gas station, they misinterpret the pair as a creepy and potentially dangerous duo. We then see Tucker and Dale, like you said, arrive at their newly purchased vacation cabin, a rundown, spooky-looking place filled with strange items, bones, and old tools, suggesting a slasher film hideout. They start cleaning it up, and they get excited about their getaway spot. Thought that was so funny too, because Tucker is looking at like the newspaper articles on the wall, and but the thing he points out is the coupon.
Yeah. I think that both of them are kind of like too tender-hearted for this world, almost, kind of.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing all these like ghost slasher bad things, and he's like, "Oh, look, this coupon for," I forget what it is, but
Yeah.
yeah.
We then see the teens. They arrive in the woods. They're sitting around a campfire. Chad is telling the group of a local legend about the Memorial Day Massacre, where hillbillies killed innocent people in the woods about 20 years ago. This plants the idea that hillbillies equal dangerous murderers, fueling their paranoia. Yeah, and I mean, again, it's funny because you're watching this as like a stereotypical slasher movie, but it's not at the same time. It's perceived that way. They're almost scaring the shit out of themselves, and that makes this even funnier. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny when Tucker is. It's weird how they talk to each other about the cabin, right? And again, this isn't like a negative thing I'm about to say, but Tucker is always like, I put all my hard-earned money into this vacation home, but then he's like saying everything's ours. So, that kind of gets in, it kind of makes you wonder things like later on in the film, just about the duo's relationship and friendship or whatnot. But, again,
Well, you could sink all of your savings of your own and still split it with your buddy.
yeah, true. Oh, and again, it's not a bad thing at all, but
Yeah.
it kind of goes along. I mean, you'll see it as if you're watching the film, they kind of get this bromance going.
I was trying to remember. I remember laughing so hard at this, but maybe you'll remember. The cop at one point says a little man time might do him some good.
Yeah.
Where was that? I said he has his shirt off.
Oh, it's when it's when they're driving up to the cabin.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bee or something in the van or something. He gets stuck.
He drops something.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Tucker is driving and he drops something, or Dale drops something. So he's like, it totally looks like he's
sucking his dick, and yeah.
Well, I was gonna be a little bit nicer about it, but
Yeah, and then he comes up and the shirt comes off or whatever, and he's shirtless. Yeah.
Or man time might do him some good.
So we get to the skinny dipping scene. Goes completely wrong. Again, here we are again. Tucker and Dale are just out
Fishing, drinking PBR.
Yep, casually fishing, drinking PBR at night.
Your own.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the teens are out skinny dipping in the lake at night, as you would in a slasher film. Allison and some of the students that go skinny dipping, Tucker and Dale are out fishing, and they witness Allison slip on a rock, hitting her head on. She hits her head on the rock.
Yeah.
They rescue her and take her back to the cabin, but the other students see this and assume she was kidnapped by hillbillies.
And Tucker and Dale are even like, "Hey, we got your friend. Like, you gonna come help your friend?"
Yeah.
They're just like,
and that's the best part of it. They're just so fucking stupid. Like, and they're being super nice and polite about it.
Yeah.
And it almost would have to be popular, quote unquote popular, preppy teens, because if you've got like, say, goth kids or, anime kids or nerds, they'd probably look at this and like, oh, thanks, man. Like, that's nice of you. But no, they've got to be stuck up shitbag preps.
Yeah. Biased,
Caramel mom.
perceiving stereotypical. Yeah. I put that down too, that it kind of shows the bias and stereotypes on either side, right? Like,
yep.
We're just seeing them as the stupid college kids who keep killing themselves.
Yep.
But they're also scared out of their minds, but they're doing it to themselves. There are a lot of layers to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brilliance of Eli Craig, seriously.
Yeah.
They rescue her and take her back to their cabin, but the other students, I don't need to say that again. So, in the cabin, Allison wakes up and is gently cared for by Dale. They begin to bond. She is surprised by how kind and sweet he is. Dale offers her pancakes, a moment that emphasizes they're harmless in nature.
And this is when you also find out that Dale basically has was it like an eidetic memory?
Yep.
He can remember everything that's ever happened to him.
Yep.
So he's not the best like socially with other people, but it's not for lack of intelligence.
Yeah. And not to completely just go to the end here, but you're talking about Sinners and how the big chick is able to get a good looking dude like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
This one's for the fat boys because we're all like, holy shit, a hot skinny blonde like that, would go for a nice fat dude like that. Yeah. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a skinny hot chick, but Dale's my type.
yeah.
Chubby, bearded,
Right.
tender-hearted.
You don't see that a lot in movies, which again, this is where Eli, I feel like, flips the script and does a really good job. You see it in the Dwayne Johnson version of Baywatch. The CJ character in that one, she ends up with like the fat, funny guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of name on one hand where this happens. It just doesn't happen in movies. And it doesn't really happen in real life either. I mean, it kind of does, but
But you also learn that the character of Allison is more mature than her friends.
Yep.
More level-headed.
Yep.
You find out later in a later scene, but she was raised on a farm.
Yep.
She's got some common sense. She takes a moment and listens to what they have to say.
Yep.
Instead of just freaking out, going, "Oh my God, you're gonna hurt me."
Yeah.
I
mean, there's a little bit of that in the beginning, but
well, yeah, but I mean, she took that time to listen to Dale, and they interacted better than what he's been able to do before, and yeah, you find out that she's wants to be a therapist and wants to work on conflict resolution, and yeah, she's experienced life better than her college counterparts.
Yep. The students then try to rescue Allison. This is when all of the misunderstandings start happening, which is where it gets so fucking funny. The students try to rescue Allison sneaking up on the cabin.
Well, Tucker is out like starting work on the cabin while Dale's with Allison, and Tucker I think he knocks down a beehive.
Yep.
And so he's gotten all swollen and everything, so he looks crazy.
Yep.
But it's also unleashed bees all over.
Yeah. So the character Mitch runs at Tucker with a spear, but is startled and impales himself with a sharp stick. He's just like laying there, kind of like a slasher. Tucker and Dale are horrified and think the kids are in some kind of suicide cult.
Well, I think that happened after the chainsaw, because Tucker is using a chainsaw with the bees.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like an homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Because he's like swinging the chainsaw all around, so the college kids are all running, and then while they're running, he makes eye contact with another one of the college kids, and he impales himself.
Yeah. Tucker and Dale try to return the body to their friends, which the students interpret as a threat. More of the kids die in absurd accidental ways. One guy, he tries to attack Tucker, but knocks himself into the wood chipper. Yeah, we'll get to that, but yeah.
Amazing.
Another kid impales himself trying to ambush Dale.
They're digging the shitter hole. I mean, the crapper hole.
Yeah. Tucker and Dale believe the college kids are part of a bizarre cult, killing themselves on their property.
Yeah.
I
mean, 2 + 2 = 4 here.
Yep.
On both sides. So each time that another college kid is killed, it's not really witnessed by another college kid.
Right.
So they're thinking that the hillbilly guys are killing their friends.
Yeah.
Not that they're killing themselves.
Right. Chad grows increasingly unhinged and paranoid. He decides to take charge, determined to fight back against the supposed hillbilly killers. They capture Tucker, and Chad tortures him, including cutting off 2 of his fingers.
His bowling fingers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He'll bring the finger sandwiches.
Right. Dale finds Tucker tied up and rescues him. Meanwhile, Dale and Allison grow closer emotionally, bonding over being outsiders and awkward misfits. So the truth starts to come out. Chad finds Allison alone in the cabin and tries to get her to leave with him. Allison tries to convince Chad that Tucker and Dale are really nice guys and that this was their vacation home. But Chad thinks Allison is having a case of Stockholm Syndrome.
This vacation sucks.
Yeah. Which understandably, like if you're so pig-headed to where you think they're the bad guys and the girl you like is, she's acting this way around strangers.
And shortly before they kind of try to sit down and negotiate the situation,
Yep.
The cop accidentally kills himself as well.
Yes.
The same cop shows up and the college kids are in the back of the squad car, basically locked in because you can't get out from inside. And the police officer goes inside the cabin with Tucker and Dale. But there is a
loose
beam that is attached to like another beam with nails in it.
Yep.
And the cop kills himself. He leans on the beam, knocks him, but all the college kids see is that the cop comes out with a board nailed to his head and that he's dying.
Yep. Tucker and Dale return to the cabin, demanding that Chad let Allison go because he's at this point kidnapped her. As he's becoming more aggressive. Allison tries to mediate between Dale and Chad, encouraging everyone to talk things out. So they're sitting at a table.
Yeah.
You've got Chad at one end and you got Dale at the other, just chatting. And
so he tries to make them some herbal tea.
Yep.
But you find out Chad explains that it can't be chamomile because it messes with his asthma.
Yeah. So then they have a standoff. During the standoff, Chad reveals that he has asthma and that his father was one of the victims of the Memorial Day Massacre, but it is revealed that the hillbilly murder also raped Chad's mother, implying that Chad is half hillbilly.
And in this scene, we have another accidental. This is actually an accidental killing because the gentleman that was a Power Ranger comes in with like a weed whacker thinking he's going to save the day.
Yep.
And instead accidentally kills yet another college kid.
Yep. So then confrontations, they all kind of rush the cabin. The blonde girl, I can't remember her name, the blonde girl rushes it too. They try to go in and save it. A confrontation leads to the fire breaking out in the cabin. The building pretty much explodes. Dale, Tucker, and Allison are able to get out just fine. Chad also escapes. They think they've got him, but he's also badly burned. He almost looks like Two-Face from The Dark Knight.
Yep.
Allison and Dale survive and flee the scene. So Dale arrives at the sawmill. He overcomes his fear, outsmarts Chad, and reveals Chad's parentage and offering an inhaler as a gesture of peace. Chad pretty much snaps, goes crazy, tries to kill them, but fails from a high ledge and is presumed dead.
Well, and he also like kind of flips the script and he's going to kill Allison too.
Right. Yeah.
Because Allison has befriended them.
Yeah.
So it's not even at this level. Chad is not even just, oh, the hillbillies are evil and I'm trying to protect myself and Allison. He's actively trying to kill Allison too.
And this is where I feel like Eli was brilliant in writing this film, along with his co-writer. It's almost like they did like a full kind of like 180 or half 180, whatever, because, the movie starts out with them thinking that Tucker and Dale are the killers and that they're the good guy teens. That's what the audience is led to believe at first. And then as this whole thing goes, it's like, all right, nope, now we're at the end and Tucker and Dale are the good guys and Chad has become the killer. So he's the...
Well, and he's also been kind of the instigator through the whole thing.
Right.
I think there was a couple of times where the other college kids are wanting to go do something else or leave or get somewhere else. And he's kind of instigating, no, we've got to go back. We've got to mess with the hillbillies instead of like getting help for Allison.
Yep.
So
at this point, Chad is dead, or so we think. Dale visits Tucker in the hospital where Tucker's fingers have been reattached, but one
looks a little different.
Yeah, I think one was the blonde girl's finger or something. Dale and Allison pretty much go on a date. We see them going
a PBR too. I think that's a sweet thing.
Yeah,
brings them a PBR.
Yep, they go on a date at a bowling alley. Really fun. I don't know. It was cute to see them kiss and all that. So like I said, it was good for guys like me. The fat guy gets the girl. So so it ends. So it pretty much ends on the bowling date, and we actually see Sasha again as the reporter, and you see Eli holding the camera. So they either survived or it's a different Sasha and Eli. So it's interesting because Chad, it's almost like a throw off. And this is something I want to ask Eli. Chad wears a royal blue shirt and uses a hatchet most of the time in this film. Kind of makes me wonder if this was an homage to Bruce Campbell's Ash Williams in Evil Dead, but he's actually bad. Because old Ash here, you can see he's got the axe, he's got the light blue shirt, and he's kind of got a similar haircut.
And I mean, that franchise, the beginning movies, they are in a cabin in the woods.
Yep.
Chainsaws involved.
Yep.
Could be.
I gotta say, man, Alan Tudyk's.
Oh, he's amazing.
His zingers are just like
I'll bring the finger sandwiches
Yeah.
when he's like,
I'll bring the finger sandwich.
Yeah, we'll have a picnic. I'll bring the fingers.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like that makes you laugh. Like you don't expect it, and you just belly laugh. It's great.
There's a particular scene where they're kind of having a face off on the inside of the cabin and outside of the cabin, and Dale like rolls over Tucker.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch this until I think that we were watching to review it, honestly. And Tucker, like, he gets hit in the ball. And he's like, oh. But like it's all like physical comedy, and he's great in it. It's just great.
Hey, did you have any other notes on the film before we move on?
Well, you had talked about Tucker, Alan, I can't say his last name.
Alan Tudyk.
His zingers, the wood chipper, the cleanup after the wood chipper.
Yeah.
They're trying to pull the college kid out, and he's like, I hope the store don't charge me for this.
Yeah.
And then it's literally like just a pair of legs and some like intestines, and it's a, gory mess. And he's like, man, for half a guy, he's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are just some of his great moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our interesting things of note. These are things that we've researched online about the film. We hope they're true, but we're just going to tell you what we found in our research. So,
and who knows, when we talk to the Craigs, we may learn something different, or we may have confirmation.
Yeah. One of the movie's strongest themes deals with stereotypes and how we perceive others. Co-writer director Eli Craig even jokingly referred to it as a docudrama. Because growing up, he and his father would go to cabins and enjoy fishing and other backwoods activities. As Craig watched many horror classics like The Hills Have Eyes, Wrong Turn, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which
Deliverance, that movie messed me up.
He noticed that the backwoods people were always monstrous and villainous. So he wanted to portray them as ordinary people and even subvert their usual fear-inducing cliche. Again, this is where he sets himself apart from everything else we're seeing in Hollywood. There's nothing wrong with everything in Hollywood, not necessarily. You either kind of take it or leave it. But he's kind of like mixing things. He's making it so like you're not just saying, "Oh, guess we're gonna watch another one of these." And it's the brilliance of, like you said before, it's not just a spoof. Like
right.
A lot of the horror comedies we have. Right, a lot of the horror comedies we see, like Scary Movie, and there's nothing wrong with it. Scary Movie's still hilarious.
Yeah.
I sinned. We love Dave Sheridan as Doofy. We love that stuff. But this is so nice and refreshing to see an original idea with a comedy that is timeless, because here we are 15 years later watching this film, and we're still laughing our asses off like we're just watching it for the first time. And he's able to do this comedy that's just a phenomenal. Same with Clown in a Cornfield. We were laughing through that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was great comedy in that. And it's one of those where you could say, yes, it's dark comedy,
yep.
but there's a lot of just pure comedy in it too. It just happens to be related to this, slasher motif in a way.
And what's nice about going to his films or seeing his films are you're still going to get everything you went to see, but you're also going to get, if you're looking for something to laugh your ass off at it, you're also going to get some horror. If you're looking for the horror, you're also going to laugh your ass off. I mean, there's nothing like, it's the perfect blend. It's the perfect mixture, and it's original.
Yeah.
So
and not to go too far off the beaten track, and but we just watched The Little Evil.
Yep.
And I hadn't seen that. You hadn't seen it. First time watching through. I remember seeing a trailer for it and thinking like, I'm not a big fan of The Omen. Whatever. I loved that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give spoilers away on that one because we're not reviewing that. But I liked the ending of it. It had a good twist to it. it's a dark comedy, but it kind of had some heartfelt moments.
Yeah. I thought that movie was very well paced. I thought it was very well written. This one, Little Evil, I will say this. I like Tucker and Dale and Clown in a Cornfield more than I liked that one.
Same.
But I still like that one. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't like Little Evil because I still loved it.
Yeah.
But it, to me, it was again something different. He was able to kind of mix The Omen with, you know, make it more of today type of thing while still being funny. You know, his mom was in it. You know, Sasha was in it for a little bit again, and yeah, it's just it was a great movie. So
Yeah.
Whoops. So okay, so another interesting thing to note here we have here is when co-writers Eli Craig and Morgan Jurgensen were brainstorming ideas, they came up with 2 scenes long before they even had characters or even much of a plot. These 2 scenes were one of the redneck wielding chainsaw while being chased by bees, and the other was, of course, the iconic wood chipper scene.
The timing of it.
Yeah.
The timing, he's tossing these things into the limbs and the sticks into the wood chipper, and he just goes down to pick something up, and this college kid's like, ah! Just throws himself. The comedic timing, the pacing on that is what is so great.
Yeah. Before the shooting even began, Alan Tudyk and Tyler Labine spent time rehearsing as well as hanging out and bonding with each other.
I love to think they must still be friends.
They've got to be.
They have to be.
This made their chemistry on set that much better, and they even reunited for Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency several years later. It's a TV show we were looking at. It's got several people in it. So the design for Tucker and Dale's cabin was based on both Evil Dead and Wrong Turn. Eli Craig showed production designer John Blackie pictures of both and asked if he could make a hybrid of them, which isn't surprising because I kept looking at it and it looks just like the cabin that's in Ash, which it's not because it's filmed in New Zealand. They filmed this, I think, in Canada. So, but it still looks really neat, you know?
Yeah.
In keeping with the theme of subverting tropes, Craig wanted the lead man to be more of heavyset, more of a scruffy character. And because they're usually, delegated to sidekick status, because of this, he made Dale the main character and cast Tyler Labine based on his work on the television series Invasion. According to Katrina Bowden, Eli Craig's experience as an actor really helped with directing because he truly understood the actor's mindset and was thus better able to direct them. This is all the more impressive considering this was his feature directorial debut. For those of you who don't know, Eli Craig played the asshole pretty much in The Rage Carrie 2, which I would like to maybe check that out before we...
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Following its debut at Sundance...
I wouldn't say top 10, but I do enjoy that movie.
Yeah. Following its debut at Sundance, the film really struggled to find distribution. According to Eli Craig, this was because it wasn't quite an indie or mainstream enough to fit either category. Likewise, it's also much too bloody to fit in with comedy and much too hilarious to fit in with horror. Mm-hmm. I look at that statement and I say originality.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you distribute this? Like, come on.
I mean, literally out of the box thinking.
Yeah. Admittedly, I did not see this in theater. I did
not either.
This was recommended to me by my good friend Raven, who you know. Shout out to Raven because I know he's watching this episode. I watched this with him. We both died laughing. The first time I saw it was him. So yeah, it's.
I think I first saw it. I don't quote me on this, but I think that it happened to be on like Netflix or something. Right before we started dating in 2012 or something like that. And I just happened to be like, oh, this looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
And put it on. I don't know that I even knew of its existence when it was in theaters.
Okay.
But don't quote me. It may not have been Netflix. It may have been something else that was streaming or something that I happened upon it. But yeah.
Sadly, its struggles continued at the box office as Tucker and Dale vs. Evil didn't quite make back its $5 million production budget. This was despite receiving excellent reviews. It was highly acclaimed by Roger Ebert himself, who usually is very harsh on horror movies, especially slashers. So the fact that Roger Ebert loved it should really say something to people. And we still have to do this. On the DVD, there is a bonus feature that allows you to watch the film from the college student's point of view, complete with Tucker and Dale as complete psychopaths. It plays out much closer to a typical slasher film. Kind of makes me wonder. We'll have to ask him about like production on that because it seems like it would take extra long to do it that way.
Well, and I also wonder, like, obviously we haven't seen that bonus feature quite yet. But I'm curious as to the tone of the interaction between the college kids, because in Tucker and Dale, they're very kind of lenient on Chad. He's their leader. They're naive. They're easily swayed.
Yep.
They're easily terrified. So I'm just curious the lens that's put on them as being like the innocent ones and Tucker and Dale being like the evil ones, and how that will look.
Yeah. It does say that actually on the DVD. We've got it right here. It says Tucker and Dale are evil. The college kid's point of view is the second bullet for special features.
Does it say the length? Because I was curious if it was a full length.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to check that out, and maybe we'll do like a little mini-sode or something on our take on that. But yeah.
Yep. And our last little note here, or little interesting thing to note, is there has been talk about a sequel for years, but sadly this has never come to fruition. According to a 2017 interview with Alan Tudyk and Tyler Labine, there was a script written, but it wasn't deemed good enough, so it was shelved indefinitely.
Wouldn't it have been cool if Allison and Dale got married, and Tucker's their buddy, it's you and me and your friend Steve, yeah. But they were they could do the slow-mo walk, what's the Thousand Corpses?
House of a Thousand Corpses?
Yeah, but the threesome.
Oh, I don't know that they have a name together.
Well, yeah, but there's three people, the three people, the rejects.
Yeah, Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand. Anyway, the three of them could be like that, but in comedy.
Yeah.
Be
funny.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe make a bowling alley movie or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we are moving on to our death count. Katie, how many people do you think died in this movie?
I don't remember how many college students there were.
Well, so there were also, don't forget about the flashback scene.
Oh, we're counting that. Because there was college kids in that, too.
Yep.
12.
Close, 16.
Ah.
Yep. So from I won't read the flashback kids, but we got Mitch, Todd, Mike, Sheriff Gurr, Chuck, Naomi, Jason, and Chloe. Yeah. But they don't attribute Chad, so Chad must have lived.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. But all right, so Katie, I have a feeling we're going to be very similar on this, but what was your favorite scene?
So I had a very hard time with this.
Yes.
You
have to pick one. So what's your
I know. You're pushing me here. I had a very hard time picking one scene and one death because they're all so great. But the favorite scene that I chose, and I'm gonna be specific here, because I want it to be that it's the longer scene from Tucker and Dale pulling the legs out of the wood chipper, all that back and forth, the store better not charge me, all that, all the way to when the kid shot himself after the cop died, that whole out in front of the cabin scene.
Yep.
And I love that. I think it's Tucker where he's like, "You've got to be more careful."
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm gonna say Tucker freaking out over Mike jumping into the wood chipper. And I probably will say that to when he's talking to the sheriff.
Yes.
Because he uses both lines.
Yeah.
He uses both lines. He uses "We have had a doozy of a day. These kids just kill themselves. One hawked themselves in the wood chipper." Hawked themselves into the wood chipper just makes me fucking die.
Yep.
Yeah. If you could have those old sound bites as ringtones, I almost want that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite death, or what was the best death?
The wood chipper.
Yep, mine too.
It was the shortest, but it was just great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were basically the same on our favorite scene and our favorite Kelly.
Yeah. Okay, so this might seem a little pointless, but we are now going to move on to our rating system. If you've not seen the show before, you'll be talking about a movie you just watched with your friends, and you'll say hey, what do you give it for, a letter grade? Or what do you give it for a scale of 1 to 10? Or how many stars do you give that movie or show? Well, we here at the Couple That Slays Together, we like to do all three. We like to be a part of every conversation. So,
Especially Brandon.
yeah, of course. I'm a talkative guy. So, hey, Katie, what do you give this for a letter grade?
I gave it an A.
Okay.
I almost gave it an A plus.
Yep.
But I did give it an A simply because kind of like they're still up in the air questions.
Yeah.
It wasn't sealed with a nice bow per se.
Yeah.
So that's what I gave it. What about you?
I gave it an A plus.
Yeah.
That stuff didn't bother me.
Yeah.
Again, this is just the way it's more for me. It's more about taking the norm and flipping it on its own script. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, being able to make the scary guys the funny guys, being able to make the fat guy the hero, being able to get the fat guy the girl, all these things I just felt like I could relate to and things that I've wanted to see in films. So to me, this is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Which is why I also gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I gave it a 9.5.
Okay.
I just, for how much this is a top 5 movie of mine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be consistent in my grading.
Yeah.
It is kind of hard to put one movie up against another. This dark comedy versus the substance. They're totally different, right? But just kind of trying to be consistent with plot holes and things like that. Again, you can say because plot and just enjoy this for a comedy.
Yeah.
And it'd be A plus 10 all the way. But I just trying to be fair.
It would be hard for me too because, when I think about my top 5 favorite horror movies, this isn't necessarily in it.
Right.
But it's almost like because this is like such a hybrid film, like I can equally like this as a horror movie and a comedy. I don't feel fully okay with saying, yeah, this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Right.
But it is, like, if we're talking about movies in general, it's probably in my top 5.
Same.
Yeah.
Same, exactly. As much as I can, I just want to be as using the same ruler
Yep.
as I can. So that's why I did put, the grades that I did, a 1 down or a half point down, just simply because if it irked me that a plot point was missing in a different film,
Yeah.
it should carry over, but really it's completely different genre.
Yeah.
So what about your stars?
I definitely give this 5 stars.
I gave it 5 stars as well.
Yeah.
I got to that point and I was like, you know what? 5 all the way.
Yeah. Okay, so we here at the Couple That Slays Together also have another rating system. It is our replay value system, a little bit different than our standard rating system. Basically, this is one of those, you get those movies out there that are just brilliant masterpieces, but they're one watchers. You don't necessarily need to see it again. It's not something that's like a comfort movie, but it's like, man, that was amazing. For me, it's The Substance. For me, it's, I always say this, Birdman or Breaking Bad or something. There are these shows or movies that are just like so brilliantly done, but it's like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that over and over again necessarily. Whereas there are movies like that are they could be trash, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 or Batman and Robin, that aren't critically acclaimed as amazing films, but they're just so fun. You can just have it playing in the background when you're trying to work on a project or you're trying to clean the house or heck, even taking a nap. It's a comfort movie.
Or you've seen him jump into the wood chipper 100 times and you're still laughing your butt out
right.
about it.
And sometimes they're masterpieces and they have a crazy replay value, or sometimes they're garbage and you never want to see it again either. Right. So, Katie, what do you give this for replay value?
Absolutely rewatch. What do we say? Will watch repeatedly.
Yeah. So we have a scale of, you'll see here, watch repeatedly, likely to watch again. You're neutral on it. You're unlikely to watch again, or you'll never watch this piece of garbage again. She gives it, will watch repeatedly, as do I. Definitely.
I have and I will.
Yep. Same here. So definitely watch this over and over again. It's just such a good comfort movie.
If you have not seen it, which if you've gotten to this point, you've gotten a lot of the spoilers, but highly recommend it. It's hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that about wraps up this episode of The Couple That Slays Together. Again, if you're watching this in real time, thank you for being here. If you're watching this 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road,
thank you for being here.
Yeah. But it's 2025, so you're going to, just ignore these next couple announcements, or, you can still watch them because they're on our channel. But definitely, if you haven't seen Clown on the Cornfield, what are you doing? Go see it. You got to see it. It's out today in theaters. It comes out early screenings May 7th, 2025, and full wide release on May 9th, 2025. We've seen the movie. We love the shit out of it. It's so good.
The main actress in that, she is from one of my favorite shows, Jenny and Georgia.
Yeah.
Which cannot wait for their next season to drop. But she is amazing in this movie.
Yep.
Shows a lot of wide range. I've seen her in kind of the more dramedy, she shows her range in acting because I've seen her in more of a comedy and drama.
Yep.
And then now in this horror film, she's really good.
Yep. And also Eli's son plays, Eli and Sasha's son plays the DJ in the film. He's the one in the trailer that you see get pegged in the eye with an arrow.
Got good twists. It's got everything you want in a slasher.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, check out our interview with Eli and Sasha Craig coming this Friday, May 9th, 2025. We're going to put it out with the release of the movie. We're going to be talking full spoilers. So, see the movie first before you see the interview. Or if you don't care about spoilers, then watch it. I don't care. But as always, you can find us on social media. If you're watching us on YouTube now, thank you so much. If you're listening to us on all podcast networks, check us out on YouTube. If you want to see us here in the studio, worked really hard on putting it together. So we'd love for you to check it out. And like I said, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We have a Facebook group page, and then we have our pages that we don't really use much, which is Threads, X, and Bluesky.
Yeah, we're probably going to purge.
Yeah, we'll see. Katie is on TikTok as at Couple That Slays Together. Pretty much all of our other handles are at Couple That Slays, at the Couple That Slays. And then you can shoot us an email at thecouplethatslays@gmail.com. Again, check us out on all podcast networks, and check us out on Patreon. If you want to get back to the show, you like us, throw us a couple shekels. Maybe get some new headphones, So, but not required. We're not going to be sitting here begging for money. We just love to have the support. So,
and remember, you can always like, comment, share, subscribe. All of these are free, but help us grow our community.
Yeah. And again, that about wraps it up for Tucker and Dale versus Evil 2010. And my name is Brandon.
I'm Katie. And until next time, go enjoy your horror. Bye.
And don't get hawked in the wood chipper.
Watch out for bees and all the above.
Yeah. Take care.
We're the couple that slays together. Oh.